5, 4, 3, 2.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the next run in the SAEMW Marathon. I'm Deus, and I'm joined here with co-commentator Originality Ace.
Howdy.
The category I'm going to be playing is SA2, Sonic Adventure 2 Alternate. So we're going to be doing the Hero Story Alternate, which consists of Amy, Chow Walker, and Takal.
For those who are unaware, Sonic Adventure 2 Alternate, or SA2A for short, is a series of modded speedrun categories for Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, in which the premise is you get to play as the two-player mode characters in the placement of the main cast. There are two specific variations of this. There is Alt and Alt Swap. Alt means that you play with the characters that match the alignment, and Alt Swap means you play as the characters with the opposite alignment. Since, like you said, since he's playing Alt, he's doing Amy, Chow, and Takal for Hero Story.
Yep. And with that, let's get in on the run. Now, you may have noticed that it looked a bit different there. I have a different overlay that specifically is for SA2A. And another thing too is this is a New Game Plus category, so we start with all of the upgrades.
Normally, these characters are only accessible in the two-player mode, and they don't have any of the power-ups that you would normally have in this version of the game. But thankfully, because of the specific mod that we use to run this category, all of the characters have access of all of the abilities, and for characters like Amy, she gets the utilization of things like the bounce bracelet, the magic gloves, and the ability to do things like light dash and break iron containers, which for her is an extreme buff to her movement.
It absolutely is. Now, I wasn't able to get the ring around here, but you can get a ring around here so that you run through this section a bit faster, but unfortunately I didn't quite get as lucky with that one. Or there either. Usually you take that ramp so that you can get the speed shoes there.
If you've ever seen default Sonic Adventure 2 speedrunning, which we had on the marathon earlier today, the normal method of moving around quickly for the speed characters is using spin dashes. However, Amy doesn't have the ability to spin dash. This is the one major factor that separates her from Sonic and Shadow. And instead, she doesn't really have the accessibility to utilize it. However, it does mean that she has access to the button to use for basically permanent or semi-permanent permanent storage, allowing her to protect herself from being hit.
Oh no.
That is unfortunate. Sometimes those robots are a bit of a pain because they can snipe you.
Yeah. It's a bit unfortunate we got a pit during the run, but that's fine. I went way too high for the speed shoes.
Still got a lot of speed and air out of that though.
For sure. So I at least managed to make it down faster that time.
But because Amy has no normal ability to activate a spin dash, her main mode of traveling quickly involves her using a combination of bounce excels and homing attack excels to keep her speed up when she's moving across the ground, while of course naturally using other things like light dashes, ramps, or other springs that are in the level to help keep her speed up. Another thing too is she also has a slightly shorter jump height comparative to Sonic or Shadow, so certain gaps that you normally would be able to just simply jump and homing attack across, you might have to preemptively do a couple bounces to get a little bit of extra height.
And here we have the truck section. Let's try and hit it. Okay, we got the first ramp.
One of three.
Oh. Unfortunately didn't get the stick there, but that's fine. Or there either.
Normally you would roll
Huh?
If you were this. The rebound from the truck. Very funny, sometimes that can happen.
Yeah. I forgot that that was something that could happen. But anyway, that is the first stage done. Is Amy.
Typically anything around about sub 225 is fairly decent. It is possible to get things that are closer to 210 if with clean, precise movement. But
Yep.
otherwise, still very good. And now we get to make a mockery of Bigfoot.
Now, you would have noticed that the cutscene didn't play there. And the reason being is that you can't add the characters into the cutscenes. So it would look really out of place if we had, like, the Sonic in Bigfoot. Like that.
Exactly.
So
Yeah,
some of them have been taken out.
Any levels or boss fights that normally have a character that is involved in a cutscene does not play, and it just simply starts it as if you were to restart it in the normal gameplay. The second character here is Tikal. You want to tell us a little bit about Tikal to use?
Yep. So, Tikal plays mostly the same to Knuckles and Rouge. The only difference is she's slightly faster, but in order to get slightly faster, the hitbox is small. Her hitbox is actually so small that it's smaller than a character model. Shorter than a character model. And here we have
Another
Ooh, you go.
the big boy, the beefy boy himself, the funny slow guy. So Sonic Adventure 2 Alternate doesn't just replace the characters that you play as, it also replaces all of the rival boss fights, meaning that you'll face off against the other 3 characters, and whatever unique attributes that they have applied to them can also affect their boss fights. In Dark Chow Walker's case, he's a bit more tanky than Eggman or Tails.
Yeah. He has I can use words. Anyway, here's my favorite character to play in this category. Chow Walker. Because Chow Walker is fast. I didn't get it. It's unfortunate.
In terms of mechs, he is the second fastest mech in the entire game in terms of movement and hover speed.
Yep. He is the fastest in firing speed as well. Just with the bullets though, not... I don't think it actually affects the lock-on.
It only affects the Vulcan cannon.
Yeah, but as you can see, Chow Walker is fast, whereas it helps speed up the stage a bit, but it also is kind of a double-edged sword because it's a bit harder to control than Tails, so being able to play the stages without making too many big mistakes is a little bit trickier.
That speed does make him a tad more slippery. But it
Yeah.
does mean you can take a lot more larger shortcuts and clear gaps that you normally wouldn't be able to with Tails or Eggman in the vanilla game. And it breaks some stages wide open.
Yeah, unfortunately I don't get to show it the best here because Prison Lane is a very enclosed stage. But... Oh. Yeah, that is the 126 there. So a lot of these times will be a lot faster than what you'd see in the regular mechs, but Amy is a lot slower than in the Sonic stages, so it kind of balances it out.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, we have another Amy stage, Metal Harbor. Yeah. Nice.
Sonic Adventure 2 Alternate has been around for several years at this point, and we've had a lot of people come in and discover many new things, new tricks here and there, and even discover if certain strats or skips that are normally doable in the base game are possible. A lot of them have been found to be actually doable. Amy has a couple of major skips that you normally see Sonic do, but not all of them. So you're going to have to rely on technical movement and basically consistency in order to play through her stages as quickly and effectively as possible.
Yup. Such as that. Yeah, so the skips that Amy cannot do is CE skip and Green Forest wall run. Because can't get enough speed or do a spin dash. It generally comes down to.
She can do crazy gadget skip, which is the fastest strat that's known for that level specifically in the vanilla game. But however, for her, it requires an extreme amount of speed and precision. It's basically an IL only strat for the time being. Seeing it done in an actual story run, however, would be impressive to say the least.
Yeah.
But it is very difficult.
Once again, we miss out on the Faker cutscene, but here comes Metal Sonic. Now, Metal Sonic is, to say the least, very slippery.
And very floaty.
And very floaty. He likes to float around a lot. As you can see him sliding there off the stage. Alright, now we're on to Green Forest. Now there is a ring route for this stage as well. There wasn't one for Metal Harbor because there's not much of a need for it, but there is one for Green Forest and City Escape. Oh.
They do make them the levels a bit more bearable if you're following the ring routes, because you get to make use of checkpoints and, of course, the natural gifts that you get when you enter through them with the designated amount of rings. Passing through a checkpoint when you have between 80 and 89 rings will give you a speed shoot, and for Amy that is extremely useful, and in a couple places where she utilizes ring routes, those speed shoots can stack, and that is allowed in the story mode runs.
Yeah. The only one that's not allowed in is these ILs, because when you die, they stack, so...
It permanently adds it to your speed unless you either exit the level or game over.
Yeah, and because we exit the level at the end of the stage, therefore it's viable and not going to be permanent across stages. So then we'll grab another set here. Then we'll dodge all those rings. Oh, I didn't get it. I was hoping I'd be able to get the light dash there, so we'd be able to skip that little bit, but no luck. Yeah, so unfortunately we can't run up, so we're gonna have to do it the long way, but it's not too much slower if you do it right. Oh.
Then we grab another speed shoe, and of course we get to reach this one down here at the bottom.
Oh.
So now we have two.
And now that we have two, speed is a lot better now. And then we can do that skip there because we have the bounce bracelet, and it's a bit faster than running along and hitting the spring like Sonic would normally do.
Yeah, because Amy normally cannot activate a spin dash under normal circumstances, the speed that you get and height you get from super bounces is not going to be around about the same as you would get for Sonic. However, you can still get a decent amount of height by doing mini bounces, which is basically like doing a bounce excel into a super bounce to quickly preserve as much of that momentum as possible to gain extra height.
Yep. And I guess I'll explain in the next stage about bounce excelling, but yeah, here's another Tikal stage. I actually was hoping I'd get this piece because Tikal has faster airspeed than Knuckles and Rouge, so getting this piece is actually kind of slightly faster and not nearly as much of a drag. But the reason that you see me going into the bounce and then going out of it and homing attacking is bounce excel, which is pretty much what Amy uses to get speed. It's the fastest way to get Amy to a top speed, and it will be used a lot more. But here we have Chow Walker Mission Street, one of my favorites because the stage is no longer unbearable. Like how we can just jump and skip all of this and jump straight over to the weight here.
the few places where using the New Game Plus benefits for this stage come in handy significantly for Chow Walker. And is actually possible. For those who also don't know, Mission Street is a cycle-dependent level, which means that certain objects that are in the levels run on a timer, and no matter where they are in the stage. So if you can reach certain objects by a certain point, you can ensure that you'll get the fastest route. And normally, the cycle that you would get is pretty quick. But for Chow Walker, there's a cycle that you can actually reach that's faster than the vanilla cycles that you would get for this level. And we call that -1 cycle, because it's faster than 0 cycle, which is faster than 1 cycle, which was I believe, the vanilla method.
Ooh, that's not good. I think I can, yeah, I can still make it. Oh yeah, the upslopes that are such a pain with tails, yeah, they're just not a problem for Chow Walker. He's just fast enough to just completely just go past it with no issue whatsoever.
And that faster Vulcan cannon firing rate that he has can make good use of taking out all these cars and garbage that blocks your path.
Yeah. So there we have a 138.
Not a bad time, not a bad time.
Yeah, all things considered. Definitely a schmoovin'. Now we have Aquatic Mine, yet another hunting stage. Thankfully, I got a ping here, so we'll go through. This is the kind of piece 2 that you'd want, just because it allows us to be able to do this monitor clip, which unfortunately I didn't get, but usually you can clip through the wall and then you'd just be able to go straight to the ghost room without having to run out through here. Nope. As you see, I had to spiral up there because to cast hitbox with a punch does not actually reach that spring. So I have to do a spiral upper instead, but yeah.
Activating certain things because of her smaller hitbox requires different movement or navigating around certain things.
Yeah. Alright, and now here we have a Route 101. So, what we've got here is, as you can see, we've replaced Tails with the Chow Cart. This little guy goes pretty fast, and also gets ridiculous amounts of airtime, which I will show off during this stage.
He is the lightest out of all of the cars. Sonic Adventure 2 Alternate naturally has a feature to it that allows you to replace the kart racing stages with the necessary characters, and because of the vehicles and who they're set to in the normal mode, the 2 characters that you normally have stages for Route 101 and Route 280, Tails and Rouge, do not have normal alternate carts. Instead, they're replaced with little Chow car here, and the other story is, of course, Egg Robo.
Yeah. Which are the leading alternate carts for Tails and Rouge. Yeah, so as you can see with the Chow cart, because it just flies in the air so much, you can just kind of do that and just like completely skip corners. Some of them are not, like the first one I did wasn't optimal. I'd probably faster to take it regularly, but yeah. As you can see, you just fly.
Yep, and if we were to be playing the other variation of this category, Alt Swap, you would have Egg Robo in this level, and he is the stark contrast to Chow's physics in terms of his vehicle.
Yeah, Egg Robo is a lot more grounded than the Chow cart here. The Chow cart loves to just go flying. As you can see by bonking my head so often on these. He also makes a fun little ticking sound, but my ADX might just be a little bit too loud to hear that, unfortunately. I didn't realize that it would be this loud. Yeah,
the
no,
chat has
that's
leaked.
that's a modified ADX file. That's not in the original game. I can promise you that.
Yeah, much like Sonic Adventure 2's speedrunning rules and regulations, we allow runners to change their ADXs, which is the files that are used for the background tracks of all the various levels and boss fights in the game, because it does not hinder anything for the actual game's code or files.
Unfortunate. Let's try that again. That's looking a bit better. So, here we have a fun little skip where you normally, as Tails, you'd have to get up onto that pole to make it over those walls. But with Chow Walker, you can just do it from down there. Just because of how fast he is in the air.
And you can actually reach this pulley if you were to do the pole jump strat that is in the vanilla game without even needing to take the other platforms or pillars.
Yeah. But then again, doing the pole hop there is kind of a bit trickier with Chow Walker because he's so fast and very hard to not have fly off.
Very solid jumps there.
Thank you. That section is a little bit tricky with Chow Walker. Oop. Just because of the speed. And because we have the laser blaster, we don't have to wait nearly as long and be as precise with our shots. So we can walk out of here with a 121.
One of the biggest benefit power-ups for New Game Plus as well as for Sonic Adventure 2 Alternates categories.
Yup. Now I am doing this, my timer is in RTA and it's not in the actual game time. I will swap that over once I finish up this stage. But this is definitely the longest stage in the run. So we're in for a long ride. Pyramid Cave with Amy, no spin dashing. Because there's no spin dash, that whilst it is a bit slower, that also means there will be no door skips. So you have to get a little bit creative, but this is where one of the upgrades come in handy, the magic gloves, which I will be showing off once I get to the section where it's needed.
A power-up that normally nobody would use in the default speedruns actually becomes significantly useful in Sonic Adventure 2 Alternate in a few different places.
Oops. And then we have to come all the way down here and go grab the key. So the reason I jumped into the wall there is so that I can actually slow down that ghost so that it doesn't come chasing after me. Because with the switch, there is actually a chance that... Oh. Please? Excuse me? No, that's... There we go.
There we are.
As you can see, the magic gloves can be a bit finicky, but... You know, if it does work, it's definitely worth it. Also, Amy's jump height does not allow her to jump over these boxes whilst holding the switch, so you have to throw them on the box. And then we'll run through here. And as you saw, I ran up on the wall there to get those dash pads. We're going to run up on the wall here again, so we can do this light dash here. Because it's actually just faster to go grab the light dash than follow through the tunnel normally.
Mm-hmm. Plus also hugging some of the angled surfaces here lets you move a little bit quicker than if you were to try to run flush against the flat terrain.
And as you can see, Amy only just makes it through those due to her low speed. I forgot that this ADX doesn't actually repeat, so we're going to be playing in a bit of silence here. But yeah, generally, once you get used to doing it, it's not nearly as bad as first time around. since you can do a few cool strats with Amy. Like that light dash there is actually a bit faster.
The tinier optimizations that you normally wouldn't think about in the base game actually become significant in these categories when you're playing as her.
Absolutely, they do. Let me just go ahead and... Oh, nice. That's absolutely what I wanted to see. Anyway, let's switch over to... yeah. And now we have a death chamber. I'm gonna reset this piece because I don't like that one. I also don't like that piece.
I'm not sure if that's accurate or not, but I think your timer might have froze.
Ah, it has. That's interesting. Let me see if I can fix that. Oh, please let me in. And we'll be doing Death Chamber Death Strats here, which allow us to get a piece back here.
The bug used to be.
A place where the bug used to be, and then we get Eggman with red nose. Bit of an unfortunate piece to get from here, but we can do booty clip here, and then we can just fly straight over here, and then go pick it up. Because it is right down in here. And that is the stage done there. I don't know why my timer's stopped game time, but we'll go back to the real timer.
And now we face off against King Boom Boo. King Boom Boo has a very unique feature to him, based off of the way that he's coded. His ground speed is tied to your character's speed. So when you're playing as Tikal or Chaos, he will actually be running either faster or slower depending on whom you pick.
That is correct. It's also a bit easier to make this cycle with Tikal because Tikal can just keep up with King Boom Boo. Unfortunately, I missed the cat boost, but that's okay. And now
Still a very solid time.
Yeah. Now we have Egg Golem. Now this one is a lot of fun. Because we have to run around to the back of Egg Golem. You have to climb up his back. Now I'm gonna try and
Timing
go for it.
is everything for this specific fight.
Yeah, as you can see, I tried to go for something there, but I was not able to get it. Which is okay. Ouch. It's not fun. See, as you can see, whilst the... can get... let's bounce here, but then we have to run around to the back and finish off the fight this way.
If you were to fall into the quicksand during this fight, Amy's jump height makes it very difficult for her to actually get out of it. So in most cases, if that were to happen, it's usually better to reset. But if you can complete that boss on the first cycle, which is the most ideal in this situation, then you should. Because every time you reset Egg Golem, there becomes a larger lag between his waves of attacks.
Yeah.
Deuce, would you like to tell everybody about Eternal Engine's funny caveat here?
Yeah. So Child Walker, due to the position of the bazooka and speed, makes it impossible for us to attempt Bofa or Quan. So we have to go through with regular EE skip. But because Child Walker is so fast, it's not nearly as much of a hassle to do as it would be with Tails. Another thing too is you really want to be careful not to get hit too often, because it's pretty easy to get hit in this stage, and Chow Walker is a glass cannon. So, like 3 hits from these artificial chaoses, and you're out. You're down for the count. Oh, not gonna make that. It's fine.
Another funny thing is that in the opposite variation of this category, Alt Swap, Dark Chowwalker is significantly slower, but he is able to do the old original method that was discovered for Botha, which involves pressing against the wall and basically getting ejected with enough speed to jump and clip through the boxes. So even the slower character out of the 2 alternate ones has the ability to access the earlier skip.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Chow Walker is just too fast for his own good.
But it means we can also fall down really far and actually get a good camera view when we get to that section.
Yeah, rather than the bad camera that you see when people use Botha. And now the next stage we come into is it, yeah, Meteor Herd. Should be fun to do with Sakal, as I'm hoping I get one piece so that I can display. I don't want that piece. That's not the piece I'm looking for. No, that's not great either. The game really doesn't like me, want to give me good RNG today. There we go. There's something I can take. Alright. I'm gonna run down here.
Thankfully, SA2A utilizes the same RNG factors as you would normally see in the base game. There is naturally the 1024, which is a set combination where you can have different types of pieces. And resetting to find one that's optimal is standard play for Sonic Adventure 2 speedruns.
That was almost a tragedy.
Ooh.
Makes it a bit easier to grab that piece, because you don't have to worry about hitting the spring. But I was hoping I'd get Floating Stone, because Takal's climb speed just makes the piece, saves time over the regular characters getting it. But that's okay. And here we have Chaos, who is the alternate to Takal. Oops, I mispressed. Let me try that again. So the fight works the exact same as it would for the other characters, where you just constantly drill dive to take them out. But yeah.
Chaos can be a bit wonky when you're fighting against him because he might be slower, but he has a significantly larger hitbox, which makes it very easy for him to hit you if you're not careful.
Yeah, especially from just like across there. Like you saw, like, didn't even have to move, just one punch, and it reached me.
This huge hitbox can come in handy in many stages when you're actually playing as him, grabbing certain types of pieces that the other characters normally would not be able to access.
A great example of that is Security Hole. You're able to get some of the safe pieces that you normally wouldn't be able to collect with any of the other characters. And now here comes the room where we're not going to be doing CGSS as Amy because it's too hard. Instead, we're just going to come down here and we're just going to run through the stage as per normal. The puzzle room has a bit of variance to what Sonic can do. Nice, I got a good cycle.
Nicely done, nicely done.
So we can't do CGS either, because no spin dash. So we can't do the regular puzzle skip either, because of the height of Amy's super bounces. So there is an alternate method that we use, which I will be doing. First, I'd like to land on that, get that switch. I make it over the gap. Yeah. Come up through here. And another thing too is we take this bottom route here as Amy, because that's actually faster to do. To do mini super mounts up here. And then here comes the part where the better puzzle skip, and then we come over to this wall here, and then we just fall down, come over here, and then swing up and hit the goal ring from underneath.
Normally you would do, if you were to do puzzle skip with Sonic, for example, you would normally do a super bounce against the block that's to the left of you when you have gravity inverted. And you would run along the bottom of the platform there, but because you don't get enough height, you do this with Amy instead.
Yeah.
And now, this is, in my humble opinion, the hardest rival fight in all of Sonic Adventure 2 Alternate, Dark Chow Walker 2.
It sure is. You're about to see why. Oh, I better run away from those. I don't want to get hit by those. Oh, that's not good.
So you probably just saw
Here we
it
go.
there, but one unique thing about Dark Chow Walker is that for all of his attacks that he does, that you would normally see in this fight, he shoots 2 waves of them instead of 1, with the exception of his power laser, which is called the Dark Finish.
There we go.
And he has massive control over that thing too.
Yeah.
He can snipe you from a lot of places on the field.
With the health that I had there, I had to play that extremely carefully, because one hit from that big laser would have been the end. Because it does more damage than the other characters. And he's also got a ridiculous amount of health, so he takes forever. And now we have Final Rush. Which we take a bit of a varying path. That's not good. I was not meant to rail switch there. That's okay.
This is the final level, naturally, where you would play as Amy, with the exception of the final boss that comes right after this.
There we go, that's
And
what I was
this is
trying to do.
a level, that she actually can do skips in, just like Sonic. Timing. So for those who have not seen Sonic Adventure 2 speedrunning before, that trick is called FR skip, FR being short for Final Rush. Basically, we use skewed gravity from the rail by bouncing, because when you bounce off a rail or a slope at a high speed, it tries to determine whichever that angle is set at to be down, and you can use that to skew gravity. So we bounce with that skewed gravity and speed and go completely out of bounds, bypassing the invisible kill planes that would normally trigger your death in the level, and then we turn back around after a certain amount of seconds and then fall directly down here to the end of the level and hit the goal ring without playing through the rest of the stage.
Yep, there is a harder variant, but there's 2 other variants that can be done. I don't know if the other 2 could be done as Amy, I can't say for sure, but we now come up to the final fight. Casual versus whatever this thing is.
Machine.
Yep. That's awesome. That's exactly what we like to see.
So Metal Sonic has a significantly higher jump height than Sonic and Shadow, so trying to hit him bit on the trickier side when you're using Amy, who has a shorter jump height comparative to Sonic or Shadow.
That's not what I wanted to do at all, but anyway. Oh, I gotta wait for him to stop. Now that he's stopped, now we can wander up and we can just kinda... Oh, really? This fight is always so much more fun with These guys.
The big reason too why Metal Sonic just stops like that is because he's coded to follow Shadow's programming, and normally when Shadow gets about so far away from Sonic in this fight, he triggers a two-player mode attack that you would normally see, the Chaos Spear. But
What?
Metal Sonic doesn't have that. Oh,
Amy! This fight is going really well for me, wow.
not the Maria dive. But yeah, since Metal Sonic has no special attacks, he's just coded to just stand there and do nothing, allowing you to just quickly run up and hit him. But because he's also extremely slippery, coming to a complete stop with him is also kind of difficult. So sometimes you can actually trigger him to turn around to face you when he attacks, but because of his slipperier momentum, he will actually directly slide towards you like that.
Metal, don't get stuck. Come here.
There is a method of utilizing homing attack strats that's very similar to the method you would do in the default Sonic or Hero Story speedrun with Sonic.
However,
but the timing is different.
Yeah, as you saw, it's also a lot tighter, but with that, we can finally finish it off. The timer doesn't want to stop, because I think I broke my splits mid-run, but there you go. That is the category.
GG's.
And with that, I think I now have fixed the grandfather run that I still have on the board. So I'm pretty sure this BB's.
Awesome job, Tails.
But yeah, that was the
GG's,
run.
yeah.
Yeah, okay,
So-
I didn't save. That's unfortunate. But anyway,
Yeah, that is unfortunate.
it's alright. And then we see the explosion, but we're gonna cut it short. And the outro for the game, still the same.
There is an updated version of the UI mod that actually changes all of these images that you see in the credit sequence, and depending on which categories you're playing, be it either Alt or Alt Swap, there are different photos for each, giving you a possibility of 4 different combinations depending on the variation and the story that you choose to watch.
Yep.
If you are interested in running Sonic Adventure 2 Alternate, we do have our own speedrun.com page, as well as our own community Discord, which we share with another Sonic Adventure 2 modded speedrun series of categories, which is known as Sonic Adventure 2's Redux Hunting. If you're interested, you could always check that out too. And naturally, of course, Sonic Adventure 2 Alternate has a lot of the same categories that you would normally see in the default Sonic Adventure 2 battle speedruns: Hero Story, Dark Story, All Stories, even things like 180s, individual levels, and various different hunting categories and category extensions. And we're always looking for new people to come in and join it, so if you're interested, feel free to stop on by.
Absolutely. That is absolutely right. Well, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the run.
Thank you for having me join you on commentary to use.
That's alright. I thought it was what we should do, considering the fact that you're the one who actually got me into it, so
Yeah.
you're the one who introduced the category to me, so yeah. That's only right.
But that is Hero Story Alt.
And who is next on the run? I believe it is Snapkick.
Yep,
So
and he's playing a game called Rebel Transmute, so that's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely stick around for that one.
And of course, a big thank you to Caesar for having us on and allowing Deus to show off this category for this modded version of the game. And of course, for allowing me to jump in and join him on commentary as well.
Shoutouts to Caesar. Shoutouts to Winnie the Pooh Home Run Derby. There we go, there's the game completed.
And I think that does it for us.
I think so.
Let's do this.
Let me show you my real